To perform this exercise, we're going to use a ball, more or less big. This one would perhaps be too hard. With foam, we would have a bigger one here, but already quite softer that could serve us very well, but we're going to use this third one because I think it's the one you can easily find in any store. You're going to inflate it more or less so that it feels appropriate hardness and firmness for you, and you'll have to try it. To do this, you're going to lie down to do the exercise and place the ball at the mouth of your stomach, right at the mouth of the stomach, and completely lie down on the ball, head to one side, and now it's simply breathing. Exhaling the ball when you inhale and letting the ball enter when you exhale. Letting the ball loosen. Relax your belly. It can be uncomfortable, quite uncomfortable, but it's important that you manage to loosen your belly. Breathe, exhale. Release, loosen, 2 to 3 minutes at the mouth of the stomach. Then you'll do the same by placing it at the navel and placing it just above the pubis. We'll achieve with this to loosen the breath, loosen the visceral spasms that can even help us with digestion, and also reduce the anxiety and anguish of difficulty breathing. This exercise has 2 keys. The first one is to place the pivot point of the back in the right spot. I'm going to tell you how to find it, the stomach's mouth. If we drew a line backward, that's the point where we should support ourselves on the edge of the table. Let's see how it's done. She's going to support her hands, lower her back, and support her back just at that point behind the stomach's mouth, right on the edge of the table where you'll have placed a towel or something soft so as not to hurt yourself. From there, the second key is to lift the arms to one side and drop the pelvis on the other side, so we arch the entire back. 2 important points. 1. Try to keep the pelvis from anteversion, not rotating too far forward, making a small pelvic tilt backward. And then drop without anteversion. And secondly, once we're finished after 1 or 2 minutes, instead of lifting and arching forward again, we're going to shift our weight. We shift and then, with our elbows, we straighten up. To perform this exercise, we lie face down with our legs and arms extended. We're going to perform a cross-chain contraction, lifting one arm and the opposite leg, for example, the left arm and the right leg. But we're not going to perform a long contraction. We're not going to hold the position up. Instead, we're going to make small shots. I contract and let it drop, contract, and when it reaches the highest point, I let it drop. We only want to reprogram, awaken the muscles, always using a crossed pattern, left arm, right leg, right arm, left leg. I'm going to show you how to prepare for this exercise here, in a seated position, so you can see how it's done. But then you have to do it in a different way. You'll see how. We're going to place a rolled up towel here, in this low dorsal, high lumbar area, where the back protrudes the most when we have our legs extended, especially in men. Here, the tendency is for this to arch backward, causing a kyphosis here. So that's where we're going to place the foam noodle, and we're going to lie face up. Now I'll explain how you're going to do it at home. Your legs are going to be up like this. So now where we start to explain how to do it. In this position at home, you have the wall here, you've lied down face up with your feet resting on the wall, and you've placed the noodle on the back, stretching the entire posterior musculature, and that noodle is preventing the lumbar from going backward, making a compensation in kyphosis. Great for the lumbar area, great for the lower lumbar area, great for the legs. And in addition, we're going to add more tension to the entire chain by placing a strap, a towel, a rope on the front of the feet, on the tips of the feet, lowering the toes down and adding tension to the entire chain. A fantastic and complete stretching exercise for the entire posterior chain. To perform this exercise, you will stand with slightly bent knees and feet separated at hip width in a rooted position. We will make a small pelvic tilt and retroversion to protect the lumbar area, lift the elbows, bend them and place them at shoulder height, not lower or higher. Then we bring the elbows forward, take a breath, and forcefully exhale or bring the elbows back so that the chest comes forward. It is also an expressive exercise that will allow you to correct and soften the kyphosis while releasing your breathing. To perform this exercise, we will initially need a wall that we will place ourselves against and which will serve as a work and reference point for the exercise. To become aware of the support of our back, we will make corrections from bottom to top, which is how you should perform them at home. First, we will place our feet parallel to hip height and separated from the wall. We will place our knees slightly flexed at the same separation as the hips and feet. Next, the pelvis needs to be tilted so that the lumbar region is well attached to the wall. And once we have done that, we will try to stick our shoulders against the wall. Arms open with hands facing the wall. And now we will try to make a self-elongation movement, as if we had a rope on our head pulling us up. All of this while trying not to lose the corrections we have made before. Once we have positioned ourselves, we simply breathe. Try to release the tension because once we have corrected everything, the breathing will be, let's say, tight. It will be a bit held by all those stretched muscles. We breathe that sigh, release tension, and then we can progress the exercise, bringing the legs a little closer to the wall, stretching the knees a little more. We correct the pelvis again, correct the shoulders, head, and we can continue progressing the exercise. To work the minor pectoral muscle, we will perform 3 different maneuvers. First, we will grip the muscle itself like a fillet. Secondly, we will work the entire area of insertions on the clavicle. And thirdly, we will work the area of insertions on the ribs and sternum. Let's see it now on my body. First, we grip the muscle as I mentioned, like a fillet, and we make back and forth movements like a clamp. We will do it in all different parts of the muscle. We will gradually move lower and lower. We spend a little while in each area. I will record the video quickly. The second maneuver will affect all the insertions of the pectoral muscle on the clavicle. We come from near the shoulder, under the clavicle, and go inward. We come from the shoulder, go inward. And the third maneuver will be all the forms of insertions and this area of insertions on the ribs, on the sternum. We will work this whole area. To work the pectoralis minor, we are going to perform 2 different maneuvers. First, I will show it on the skeleton. We are going to look for what is called the coracoid process, and from there we are going to perform, just below it, some friction maneuvers, using our fingers well. Secondly, by fixing the shoulder back with the back muscles, we are going to perform some stretching maneuvers to stretch the pectoralis. Let's see it on my own body. First, we search for the coracoid process by first finding the head of the humerus. We go to the gap, the hollow that we have just below the head of the humerus, and there we find a ball, like a marble. That is the coracoid process. We go down to the coracoid process, we enter underneath it. There we are at the insertion of the pectoralis. We will perform some frictions on the pectoralis there for a couple of minutes. Later, we will perform some maneuvers by fixing the shoulder back and making some passes from the coracoid process towards the sternum. A little downwards as well. And there we will perfectly work the pectoralis minor. We start the stretching from a lying position, with the arms perfectly crossed at 90 degrees, the elbows pointing to the bend, looking towards the ceiling. That is, perfectly parallel to the ground. We don't rotate. And the wrists, exactly the same, also with their axis parallel to the ground. Once we have acquired this position, we lift the arms. And that helps us to press the shoulders against the ground. We will never lose these shoulders from that contact with the ground. That is one of the keys to that exercise. Now, the hands down. We add tension to the entire anterior chain there. Now, we imagine that we have two threads grasped at the wrist and they pull us to the sides. We stretch subtly more, skill over strength, because otherwise, we will separate the shoulders from the ground, which is what we don't want. From there, we can gradually let go. With the passage of a couple of minutes or 3, we can let the arms fall. The exercise can be done in several sets because it is quite tiring to hold the arms there. It is a very, very intense exercise. Well, I hope this compilation has been of interest to you. I hope it serves you to improve your problem, and I encourage you, in any case, to search and find another bunch of videos with exercises, self-massages, tips, all of that here on OnSalus Health.